Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Up and Adam. I am Adam. Today's guest is, I've had nothing planned for this introduction whatsoever, but it's cool when you've got a good mate, and I didn't really need to worry about that. Now that I've put myself on the spot, I'm just going to start by saying welcome Dave Robinson.
Thanks, dude. Thanks for having me, man. It's been a little while since I've been on a podcast, actually, since last year. So it's good to get back on the microphone, have a chat. I just love the uninterrupted chats you can have on these things,
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for joining me, mate. It's going to be good to have a yarn. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Dave has his own podcast, the Average Man podcast, and you were a big part in me wanting to start mine. So I've always been looking forward to having you on the couch and having a yarn and talking about life. You've been a big part of my life in the last, how long? I don't know, 2 years, 1 year.
It's been at least 18 months, yeah.
Yep. Dave was an old friend of mine who introduced me to a brotherhood, a group of men, which really opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I'm forever grateful for that. And we've kind of reconnected, we've grown up, we've matured, we've had kids, and we've come a long way, and it's been really nice connecting with you, mate. And we're just talking about it this morning, and we've learned a lot from that group, and it's kind of bridged a path to where we are now and what we want, and opened our eyes to a few different things.
Yeah, it has, man. And yeah, it's funny because we went to school together, different years, but then we met again, sort of via the internet and all the wonderful things we can do across country. Because I was traveling around the country and then living up in Cairns. So this is the first time we did that weekend together. We did one of the masterminds together, which was cool, getting out there and doing a bunch of exercise and hanging out with a bunch of blokes and pushing ourselves, which was pretty cool. But this is the first time we've been in the same city together, living together, living close to each other, which is pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, you said I had the podcast. I did have that podcast. I had it for 7 years. I hung the gloves up on that one last year. I do plan on getting back into a podcast at some point in this year. Just had so many moving parts. So for me, it was time to give it a rest, stop talking for a bit and just sort of listen. My podcast was different to yours. I love what you do here. Just have these convos, man, with interesting people, which is how I started mine. And then it became much more like political and driven by things that were happening in the zeitgeist, you know what I mean? And then I felt like there were so many other voices out there doing that, like commentating, do you know what I mean? And I just sort of got sick of hearing other people commentating and me commentating. I was like, I don't want to just be another voice, which is why I've sort of stepped away from it at the moment to just spend a bit more time growing, learning, listening, and figuring out what the hell it is I actually want to say. So,
yeah,
but it's good to be back here just on your couch, mate, having a good casual yarn.
Yeah, definitely. I hear that. I hear that for sure, especially in the world that we're living in now. So there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Everyone's an expert too, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Self-proclaimed experts everywhere.
And I remember when I was on your podcast, a guest on yours, and I was just like, oh shit, you're not going to ask me anything political, are you? Because it's funny. It's not. How do I say this? It's not one of my interests. I don't mean to sound like naive or anything. It's just. It really isn't. And I think since COVID, I used to grow up watching the news and stuff. And since COVID and the fear that the media had put into me about COVID, I remember working on the mine site. I was like, shit, what if this comes to WA? Because that's what the media does, right? And then since then, I was just like, I've never looked at media again since COVID because I was kind of scarred by that. And now I refuse to. And it's been refreshing. I'm worrying about the people in my life and who I love and my daughter and what's important to me under my roof, what I can control, and the rest, it doesn't bring me any sort of benefit. And I it's been such a long time since I've listened to the news. I'm in Harper's car the other day just giving it a run, and it's an older car, so it doesn't have Bluetooth or anything. So I was on Triple J, Donald Trump's voice came on. I couldn't. I just turned it down. I couldn't. And I was like, it was a weird feeling. It was like, it's been such a long time. I've got no interest. Catch ya.
Well, dude, a couple of things you said there that I think for me as well, and a lot of people listening, the whole COVID thing opened our eyes up. Like I think just instinctually, a lot of us already knew that the media was feeding us bullshit, but we didn't think about it that much. It just was like I would avoid listening to the news as well. You know, like I hate listening to radio stations where you have to listen to news. I'd never put the news on at home or anything like that. But you still digest it in everyday life. People talk about it, whatever. But I always just kind of knew a lot of this is bullshit, fear mongering, all that kind of stuff. I used to say I don't watch the news because there's no good news. It's all bad news, right? And then we saw in COVID how much they were just gaslighting us, just bullshitting us, like. And narratives that have been put together, it seems like, you know, like to get one specific point across. So a lot of people turned away from the mainstream media news for sure. I think I get a lot more of my information from podcasts or political commentators that I find interesting, or social media, you know, not just... you can say social media, that can mean a lot of different things. There's a lot of bullshit out there, but there's people who know what they're talking about on there as well, you know. So, yeah, for sure, that was a reason to start questioning how much of it's not worth listening to a lot of the time. You know, like speaking of social media, I'm still using Facebook at the moment. I use it for my business and a few other things, the house flipping stuff as well. But I haven't been on Instagram for like 6 months or something now. I haven't even opened the account up.
Yeah.
I don't use X or TikTok or any of the other ones. Just having Facebook is enough. It's more than I wish I had, but again, it's useful with marketplace and finding work, you know, jobs and stuff like that. So, but just having social media is not that healthy, man. It doesn't bring me any joy. It doesn't bring me any joy, you know, like I don't get anything good from it. And like you said, you can worry about what's happening across the entire world. I do like to stay informed. That's just personal choice, but it doesn't bring me joy. And like, to be honest, I can spend my entire day, week, month, year just worrying about my family, my kids, my own life, what's happening with me, my health, what's going on in my relationships. Like, I don't need to complicate it by listening to news all the time and trying to worry about what the hell is happening in the Middle East or something crazy, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so that's politics out of the way.
Well, no, it's interesting you said that, because I do have an idea for a podcast to get back into later this year. And the fact that you don't care about politics is one of the things why I love this podcast, because it's not about that. And you do have that. I'm not sure if it's the right word. It's not an insulting word, but like a naivety around what's going on in politics, and I mean that in a positive way. Like it's not something that you're bringing up in conversation, which is nice and refreshing. And I have another mate that's similar. You haven't met him, I don't think, Eli, and he's one of my best friends, and we're cheese and chalk. He's still a wild child, and I'm, you know, all grown up and responsible these days. But he doesn't care about politics, he's not interested in religion, those kinds of things. And he and I, so when we have conversations, if it does turn to anything about politics, he's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? Explain it. Why is that bad? Who are they? What's going on? Which is beautiful, right? Because like that's what a lot of people are like. They don't care. They don't follow it. So if you do end up having a conversation that touches on politics, it's almost like it's got to be fresh eyes looking at it. You can't just start in the middle of a conversation. Well, you know what's happening with Donald Trump. It's like, no, I don't. I don't watch the news. And he also loves music and other things like that. So it would be a really good contrast to have a little bit of that side brought into the discussion, but also having someone sitting there that goes, I don't know or care about that. So if you're going to talk about it, you better make it interesting and better make it understandable. So, you know, there's a good contrast between the two of us.
It's kind of like me talking about maths equations or something.
I'd get lost in that too.
So I'm not with you at all. I don't know what you're saying. But Let's touch on the brotherhood.
Okay.
Now that I've mentioned that already, I want to talk about the brotherhood. I want to talk about your new project, which is the house flipping, which is really exciting. But let's go back a little bit and
to where it all began.
And just kind of what that group of men, being around those guys, kind of what it meant to you, what it meant to me, and what we've kind of learnt. And just break that down for me.
I think both of us said earlier on, very similar sentiment earlier on today, that we like the whole idea of men being there for men and setting a good example for each other, and, you know, mental health for men in particular, for everyone, but you got to start, you know, got to pick a lane if you want to talk about things and help people, you know. Mental health for men is a big issue. Obviously, 7 men kill themselves a day in this country, which is pretty wild. We've all known people that have suffered with mental health. We've all probably had our own battles at some point in time or been touched by it. So that whole idea of creating a space for men to get together and learn how to deal with their emotions and talk about stuff and, not have the barriers up all the time, trying to be, emotionless or whatever, like a lot of men are, carrying the burden all the time. Talking about health and fitness and different ways to look at the world and different ways to look at, business and entrepreneurship and all that, I thought was great. Really, really good. Opened my eyes to a completely different way of looking at the world and the economy and how I fit into it. It was really good to connect with a bunch of like healthy-minded people, because I didn't have a lot of that growing up. I chose some interesting friends in my teens and early 20s, and they ended in kind of predictable ways for a lot of the time, and then I kind of maybe insulated myself from close connections to other blokes for quite a while. Just got stuck into my family and my work and all that kind of stuff, which is good but wasn't balanced. So I got a heap of really positive stuff out of it, man. Met you again, like rekindled the friendship with you. I mentioned that mastermind that we went to before over on the Sunshine Coast. I loved that weekend. That was epic. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
That was just about exactly what we just spoke about. A bunch of blokes getting together, hanging out, pushing each other, letting the barriers down. It was awesome, man. I just had so much fun and a sense of accomplishment and connection that weekend.
And something that a lot of us have never done before.
No, never
experienced anything quite like
completely
that.
outside of the comfort zone, in a ring of blokes boxing each other for 2 minutes at a time. Like it was awesome, man. It was nuts. But there was also a business component that was attached to that whole men's group that I think wasn't a road that either of us wanted to continue down after a while. So it was a little bit of a bittersweet thing. I'm really glad I was involved in that. Opened my mind, opened a lot of doors, opportunity, met some cool people. But as far as the business side of thing, it wasn't something that was I was going to continue down, after a certain point. And I guess that's where I've landed with it. And I think you had some similar sentiments about it too, eh?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I just wanted to speak to that as well about, I guess, kind of what it meant to me. And I remember when you reached out to me about it, and then I was at a point in my life. I've had a few of those points now that I look back at it, but I guess that's the way it goes.
It's life, isn't it?
Yeah, but when you reach out to me, it's just like, straight away I like the sound of that. It's something different. It can help push me to like where I want to go. And I'm just kind of learning and I'm growing. And that was, again, we're talking about getting out of our comfort zone. That was fucking all the way there. And I was like keen as, and I absolutely loved it. And it was really cool. And starting off in that circle, and that's a funny memory actually when Mitch goes, he was facilitating that event, and we're a group of men at the end of the day, and the way we've grown up, the way we respond to people and stuff, we're all looking at each other and no one knows each other really. And then he said, does anyone have a charge with someone?
Yeah.
Does anyone get a vibe that they want to bring to the group? Because we've got the weekends together.
This was the first day. This is the barbecue to get warmed up.
Yeah. This was like, if we hadn't even started the weekend, this is the Friday night before it starts on Saturday. And then I was just thinking to myself, Jesus, I mean, I'm sure we're all thinking that, but no one's going to put that hand up. I was like, what's he going to say? And probably a lot of us were thinking Mitch, the guy that was actually running it. Great guy, great dude. I guess we all kind of react differently around people. You put up your hand and say, yeah, you. I was like,
it was so awkward. It was so awkward for me as well, man.
I was not expecting that at all. And then he just called you forward. You had to like talk it out. And I was just like, man, that was good. And there was like a hug at the end of that. So this is really cool. And because I know myself so well, I remember thinking, I said to you, I don't know why, I don't know where that comes from, but I have a feeling that I'm going to be like tearing up. I don't want to, but I know, I don't know.
Can I speak to that for a minute?
Sure.
What I think those two incidences, you're talking about the who's holding the charge and why I spoke up, even though it was super uncomfortable, and the why you felt like you're going to be emotional. I think because one, you realise that there was going to be a breaking down of barriers that weekend, which is something that men do, and we do well, and we have to be able to do that. You have to be able to compartmentalise if you want to get through the fucking life. You can't be a blubbering mess all the time, right? You can't just go, this is too hard, and go into a corner and cry. You're a fucking man. You got to make money. You got to protect your family. You got to provide for your family and yourself. We got to do hard shit, right? But there's a certain point in time where, like, You know, there's being strong and there's being hard. They're two different things. Like hard breaks eventually, right? It shatters, you know, that's what hard things do. If you can be strong, you can be malleable, you can be a bit more, you know, fluid in how you react to situations. And a lot of us aren't taught that. So we just get hard. And then for me, I know, you know, it's come to a point before where, yeah, I've had no one to speak to about things. I was talking to you about that just earlier. And so having that feeling that there's going to be some barriers broken down here and that may draw up a bit of emotion, like I think that's a pretty normal and natural feeling to have. And as far as why I spoke into that awkwardness at the beginning of the weekend, I think throughout my life, a lot, teenage years and early 20s and stuff, I would find myself in a situation where I was feeling insecure and have a problem with somebody, and I would make a problem when I was younger, drinking alcohol, that kind of stuff that didn't exist. It didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's that? What is that all about? And it's an insecurity thing, right? And it comes from certain people. You don't know that guy, but something about the way they look makes you feel a certain way.
Yeah,
and as a man, you react to it. Well, I need to go on the attack. Something about this guy is a fuckwit. Never met him before, never spoke to him before. And now I've got a vibe about me, and now this guy's got a weird vibe, but, you know. So then there's this whole energy that can build, and you can walk around your whole life doing that. So I was like, there's something that is worth confronting there, because that was the whole point. I didn't know really Mitch from a bar. You know, I'd met him online a bunch of times, but I didn't know him enough to have a problem with the guy. It was a vibe that I was carrying that actually had nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
So it was cool to go walk in there, stand face to face with the guy, look him in the eye, and just go, I don't have a problem with this guy. You're not the reason that I feel insecure. That's something that I need to deal with. It's something that's probably from my past or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of guys carry that around. You know, you walk up to, especially if it's a big guy, an intimidating looking guy, guys can get their defenses up. You don't have to be like that. You can go, this isn't the guy that beat me up when I was 14. This is just some random dude. So I can be cool with this guy and we can actually have a good time.
Yeah, for
and I think that was a good thing for me to, even though I knew it already, to act it out in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you just break that down a lot better than what I did, maybe. The way I was going to say it, it's like, who's got a problem with someone? Yeah, me, let's fight. It wasn't like that at all. It's like, took balls for your part too, because you want something to happen that weekend.
Yeah, I wanted to be open. Yeah,
you've signed up to change something. The same reason that I did as well. I'm here to learn. I'm here to grow. Bring it on.
Yeah. It was super nerve-wracking, but don't get me wrong. My ears were ringing and I was sweating while I was standing there in front of all these dudes looking at me. Well, you got a problem with Mitch?
Yeah, that's funny. Turns out a lot of us did, but we'll learn that later. But and then the next weekend that I went to, not the next weekend, the next event, which is however many months later.
Was that the one in Bali? Bali, or was that another one on the Sunshine Coast?
This is another one over east.
Yeah.
And
Gold Coast.
I was going through something again, and I was really looking forward to it. It's like that was going to help me, and I knew it was. It's like I'm in a bit of a low at the moment. I know that event's coming up, and it's like, cool, again, bring it on, because I'm willing to surround myself with those guys and work through something. And then this time around, when I thought that I'm going to be okay, I just want to be around, and we did a big circle work, and we'd like having, you know, what's on our mind and where we're at. And this guy on the right started, and then I had the whole circle to get to me. And when it was about 4 people, tears are coming, and I was like, oh, here we go. Couldn't even talk. It was just like, it just came out, and I just said that I'm just been feeling really down lately. And that's all I was really comfortable with saying. But even just saying that one sentence in front of a whole bunch of like guys that I don't know, I was like, there was like growth that came from that.
Yeah.
I didn't have to go into the details and how I'm feeling, because it's like, it's men's shit, and we're all probably very similar. Didn't need to go into it. I just had to put up my hand and say, I've been at a low point. Everyone's like, cool, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Wipe my tears away. Okay, cool. What's next? And then it's just like it's powerful. You know, a lot of guys you meet that we met, they obviously come from like different walks of life. We've all been through different things, but it's great to be able to be around each other, learn from each other, and just openly, put your hand up and saying, I've been through this. And some of the guys shared things in the group that they've never told anyone in their whole life.
Yeah, and
then they would, you know, just say, this makes me feel better. Like, how amazing is that they feel comfortable? Well, they didn't feel comfortable, but they wanted to.
They felt safe.
Yeah, they felt safe, and they've held on to that. So, it's a lot of learnings, a lot of growth. It was really cool.
There is, man, and there's all this stigma about men not doing that, and there's even people who would see these. You see some of the clips from the men's retreats and stuff online, and you know, people like to clown on it as well. A bunch of guys, you know, hanging out in the wilderness somewhere, getting emotional and shit. It's easy to make fun of whatever. But the fact of the matter is, I'll bring it back to what I said before. 7 men kill themselves a day in this country. It's too many, man. So obviously something's not working the way we got our society set up. Guys don't have somewhere to go and speak to people. A lot of people don't have good mentorship. They don't have other people who are strong enough. Because that's the thing, right? You need another man that's strong enough to hear you be vulnerable in front of them. You can't do it in front of everybody. You go talk to some people about what. Even just the fact that saying I'm having a really rough time at the moment, not everyone's strong enough in themselves to go, oh, okay, do you want to talk about it? It makes them uncomfortable. And they go, I don't want to see my mate like this. I just, I want to hang out and catch up and have a good time. So there's limited places for people to do that. And what do you do when you don't talk to anybody? Like self-destructive behaviours, all that kind of shit. And there's often one place that leads, dark, which is a dark road. So it's important to do, man, and people can not understand it. That's fine. And there's all different ways of getting there. But I think that what you experience, what I experience, and what a lot of these men's groups are doing for people around the country, I think there's a lot of value in it, man. And it's super, super cool to have been a part of it. I'm not doing anything like that currently, but I'm just really open to so many different experiences now because of being a part of that group and feeling uncomfortable often and being encouraged to stay uncomfortable because, as cliche as it sounds, like the discomfort's where the growth happens in all of our lives, right? But people, we're so weird. We're drawn to comfort. You just want to do whatever's comfortable, sit down, eat your favourite food, watch a good movie, hang out with your friends at the bar and just drink beers and talk about bullshit and just tell jokes. And that stuff's all cool. I love doing that. That's fun. But you got to do the uncomfortable stuff as well so that you've earned those bits of comfort, right?
For sure. And what's really cool as well is so you introduced me into that sort of space. And last week when I contacted you, I was like, I need to catch up with you.
Yep.
And I thought that was really cool and really appreciate you. By the end of that day, you'd already got back to me and you're like, are you all good? Because it probably sounded like I wasn't good. But whatever state of mind I was in, I was just like, I need a bit of bro time. And that's amazing because we met sort of on that journey. And then to me, it's like, well, you are one of those main guys now in my life because of that. And that's great. And I was just like, I need to hang out with you. We can do a podcast. Great. We can work out. We can have a chat. But I was like, I need a bit of your time. And you're like, are you all good? Yeah, I'm all good. So,
but it's perfect because I wanted that too, man. Like you're one of those, again, we might only see each other a handful of times throughout the year because you're busy, I'm busy. Everyone's got their own lives. But that doesn't matter. That's good. That's good enough, man. Like just having someone that you're on a similar page to, I know that you're the kind of guy I can call up if I got a problem. I know you're the kind of guy that's trying to do what you're passionate about in your life so I can talk to you about shit that I'm passionate about. You know, like that's cool, man. Some friendships aren't like that and that's all right as well. But it's good to have those people in your life, man, Yeah. And I actually felt like I'd fucked up because by the time I read your message, I saw your message there, and you know how if you're on an iPhone, it like sums up the message a little bit for you. So I just saw, Adam wants to catch up to a potty. Sweet. I won't open it because then I'll forget I've read it. Yeah. And I was too busy to get back to you at the moment, so I'll read that later on. And then I read it like half a day later. I was like, oh fuck, this is the kind of message I should have got back to him straight away about. So that's why I called you.
That's funny. Yeah, that's good. So I appreciate that, mate. You were there for me, and then we're hanging out, and it's turned out to be a really fun day.
And it would have been nicer if the bloody sun was out, but back in Perth now, so this is to be expected moving into the next few months, I suppose, eh?
Yep, I hear you. All right, cool. Let's talk about your new project.
Oh, yeah?
House flipping.
House flipping. Yeah, man. Yeah, so I'm a chippy by trade, and I don't love it. We'll just throw that out on the table now. I'm pretty good at it, but I don't love it. It's not that I dislike carpentry. I just dislike, there's a few things. I don't like being busy all day, stuck on a work site. I feel like there's so many other things I could do productive with that time, but it just takes up so much time and energy. You come home from a hard day's work. You're not super enthused to do other things quite often, and I've always wanted to renovate houses, but thought it was something that was kind of out of reach, I'm going to need to have my own house with a certain amount of equity and then an X amount of money in the bank. And I just travelled around Australia 18 months ago, 2024, spent all the money that we had. So I've had to start from scratch again. It seems so far out of reach. at this point in time. And then I found a group, an online course. A guy, he actually lives in Perth. It's Australia wide, and they teach you how to turn that into a business and use other people's investors' money to fund these projects and essentially start flipping houses immediately, which is really exciting. So I saw that 15 months ago, followed online for a while, started learning everything I could just from the outside, looking in and thinking, yeah, this seems like a really good idea. It's up my alley. It's using the skills I've built throughout my lifetime anyway. I've always been interested in property. It makes sense to me as an investment, vehicle, like something tangible. We all need houses. They're not going anywhere. The population is going up. So it just makes sense. The stock market doesn't make sense to me. Crypto doesn't, and it's not that I don't understand it. It just seems so flippant and all over the place. It's not something that I'm really interested in investing time and money into. It's something that you'd really have no control over. Property makes sense, So finding a way that I could get involved sooner rather than later was super exciting to me, man. And then I think in October last year, did the course, started implementing all the things we were learning, and we actually found a house just this week. We went and saw a bloke on Saturday, so 2 days ago, and we've got to get the paperwork together this week. We've got a handshake deal for our first flip. It's me and my brother going in on this business together. So super excited about that, man. Like I get to use the skills because I'm not just a chippy, I've actually got my builder's reg as well. I've done project management. I've been a construction manager. So I'm used to managing projects and dealing with clients and organising jobs and all that kind of stuff. And instead of throwing all those skills away because I don't want to be on a building site for the rest of my life, there's another avenue I can transfer those skills over into that has that more opportunity moving forward. It's not the thing about construction is, well, there's a couple of things. One, without trying to sound like a judgmental prick, there's a lot of people involved in that industry I don't want to spend my time with, to put it bluntly. Yeah. That's just the truth. Not obviously there's plenty of good tradies and plenty of good people out there, but as a culture, I don't think it's the best culture. A lot of drinking, like gambling, porn, shitty way that people talk, shitty way that people think, a lot of like chest puffing, like what we were just talking about before. Not a lot of guys you can go to on a Monday morning on the work site and go, can I have a talk to you, man? No. Just, have a fucking teaspoon of concrete and harden the fuck up is one of the sayings you hear quite often on a building site. That's fine. But it's just not full of my people, right? Yeah. And then the people who I have met who have been mentors or who I've seen them doing well business-wise, it doesn't excite me seeing where they get. And that's, again, not a stab at anybody else. Those people some of them are happy with what they've built and their lifestyle and the way that they run their business, and that's cool. But it doesn't excite me. There's a lot of stress involved. They're all dealing with the same hands-on, time-consuming people and resource problems all day, every single day. And that doesn't excite me being in a successful building business, right? So looking at house flipping, that's sort of the entry level to investing in property, which is a larger, area. There's other ways to invest in property rather than just buying, reno, and selling. And so like the ceiling for what you can do and where you can take it is just so much bigger. And I see the people who are successful in that space and they enjoy what they're doing, a lot of them, and their lifestyle to me seems much more conducive to having balance, having free time, networking with interesting people, just not having to create every dollar you earn with your fucking hands. Like that gets tiring after a while, man. I'm preaching to the choir here, and a lot of guys and women, there's plenty of women in the trades and on the mines these days, understand that mentality. It's a great vehicle. Like I've learned so much from carpentry, from building industry, from having to get up and go through the grind, resilience, persistence, all that kind of stuff. Good stuff. Problem solving, heaps of good stuff I've learned, but I don't want to do it for the rest of my life. I've met guys who are in their 60s who are still working hard physically every single day and don't have a lot to show for it. Yeah. Because again, it takes up so much time and so much energy to do that and balance a friggin' some other investment strategy at the same time. It's quite a lot. So to be able to move out of one and into the other, it excites me, man.
Yeah, for sure. And it must be kind of cool knowing sometimes you're still working with your hands, but there's a different motive to it, different purpose.
We'll still be working with my hands for the foreseeable future, but there's a pathway out of it into more of an overseeing role and a prospecting role as far as finding more deals, more jobs.
Sweet.
So pretty excited about that, man.
No, that's awesome. That sounds really cool, for sure. Yeah, carpentry, apprenticeship days. How old were you when you started your apprenticeship?
So never did an apprenticeship.
Oh, didn't you?
No, I went straight out of school and was doing concrete retaining walls. I
Oh, yeah.
started doing that on my school holidays and did that when I left school. And then I did a bunch of shitty random jobs in between. Started doing carpentry as, like a carpenter's labourer, they call them a hammer hand. Started working as a hammer hand when I was about 19. And then I started blowing my shoulders out. So I blew my right shoulder out 25 times, did my left one about 20 times. It was happening at work and shit. And I thought, this isn't going to work out for me. So I tried a few other shitty jobs. Nothing stuck. I went underground for about 8 months when we were building our house back in, whenever that was, 2008. Went underground for a while as a driller's offsider, which is like the dregs of the mining industry. Hated that. Came back and got back into carpentry and started working with some good guys, who taught me a lot more than what I'd learnt the first time around. And sort of worked up from a carpenter to being considered from a hammer hand to being considered as a carpenter, but I didn't have the piece of paper. And then, for a job I went for up in Port Hedland in 2011, I needed the qualifications, so I went to TAFE and did an RPL, recognition of prior learning. Got all my jobs and photos and letters from employers and stuff, and got my carpentry ticket. And it was good for me because I had a real chip on my shoulder that I wasn't a real chippy because I never did an apprenticeship. And I thought the guys that had done an apprenticeship had some secret sauce that I didn't have, and they were just going to be better than me. And that's how I approached it. So I was always like, this guy did an apprenticeship. He already knows more than me. He's a better carpenter than me. So I doubled down and worked really hard, at trying to learn as much as I could, improve myself. And
that's interesting.
Eventually got to a point where I thought, these fucking guys don't know half of what they're supposed to know. Then you realise that an apprenticeship doesn't make you a tradesman. It's just a qualification. You actually still have to go out there and earn your stripes and learn it in the real world.
I look at my apprenticeship as when I finished, it almost felt like when I got my driver's license. I'm like, I'm not ready yet. No, you qualified. I'm like, I'm not qualified.
Or it's like becoming a parent, right? Do you remember driving home from the hospital with your daughter in the car? I remember looking in the back seat going, what do we do now?
I remember the nurses going, okay, so we're all good here, but so what's happening?
Yeah.
No, we're just going to chill here. And they're like, no, you actually have to go.
Got to go home and keep this kid alive now.
I was like, oh, is that it? 2 days. No, that's
it's
a good
nuts.
example.
You're not a parent. Well, you are, but you're not a competent parent just because you had a kid.
Yeah.
And it's the same with driving your car. Not just because you got a piece of paper that says you can do it doesn't mean you're not going to bloody kill yourself. So, man, I learnt that really you just got to figure it out on site anyway. But it did make me push myself and try to catch up to what I saw as a big gap between me and everyone else. And that was a good thing, So a bit of motivation from fear.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, it's exciting, mate. No, that sounds good.
And I enjoyed it back then. I enjoyed being a carpenter once upon a time,
Yeah. I had a great apprenticeship because I was with my brother-in-law, and he's also one of my best mates, and the laughs were just like...
That's good.
Just next level. And the only thing is, as far as skill level goes, even though I didn't really care about that because I'm having a great time day in, day out, but we did like home extensions. So I didn't specialise in roofing because you'd probably do a roof once every 3 months, sort of thing. And then if there wasn't anything going on, the bricklayer's doing a garden wall, then I'm helping mix mud. So it's a real, which kept it interesting, but didn't really master too much until you kind of learn stuff like that, and endless amount of fuck ups. And mate, there was some funny stories and some decent fuck ups. Mate, some beauties.
You definitely learn more if you're a fixing carpenter and you're just hanging doors and doing skirting all day long. You're going to learn those skills quicker, and same for roof carpentry stuff. But it's far better to be a renovation carpenter and do a bit of everything and learn a bit of everything. It's going to take you longer because there's less repetitions, and more time between tasks. But it's definitely the better way to go. Like you said, you're more versatile, keeps it more interesting. You become, because Perth's one of the only places where they have just straight roof carpenters, because they do stick roofs here, over east, everywhere else is all trusses and stuff. So to do a stick roof is, it's its own trade here, which is kind of nuts, You got roof carpenters, and you got fixing carpenters, first fix and second fix carpenters, framing carpenters. It's like they're all split up into these different groups.
Yeah. Cool. All right. And you're a dad?
I'm a dad, yeah, very proud dad.
How old are your kids? Let's go into that.
So my girl's 9. Happened, you know, like when you're trying to make things happen in your life and you're trying to keep yourself accountable and disappointed if you're not getting the results you want. Sometimes you forget about all the things that have gone right in your life, you know, and I've been trying really hard in not some cheesy way. I don't have a gratitude journal or anything like that, but I do try and stop and think about it sometimes and be thankful for, like, hey man, I've got a pretty good life in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
I've got really good kids, beautiful kids, healthy kids.
Yeah.
Like some people's kids have got brain tumors, man. Some people's kids get leukemia at 6 and they fucking die. Like, that's reality. That's fucked.
Yeah.
You know, I'm healthy. I've got mates like you. We live in Perth, Western Australia. Like, we're not getting bombed. We're not, you know, there's a lot of good shit going on. And I'm 42, 43 this year. Like, 40's like 30, 20 years ago, essentially. Like, we're pretty healthy. We've got a lot of life ahead of us, man. And the opportunities that we have available to us in when you've got half a brain in your head, you do have your health. You live in a country like Australia. Our kids are getting older, where we've got more and more free time as they get older. You know, it's sad losing that little kid stage. But sometimes have those moments where you miss them running up and jumping into your arms and, oh, daddy, you know. But that's not going to stay that age forever. So that's part of life. We live in a really good place, man. So kids I think are one of those really good reminders for you that you're happy, you're lucky, you know, and sometimes as well to just get your head out of your own ass and do whatever your kids need from you.
That's so funny, mate. We're so aligned. It's like it's a lot of the stuff you say, it's exactly where I'm at. And it's funny because about a week ago when I was in my head about something, same old shit really. And then I thought about Harper and I was just like, it just puts everything into perspective. And I'm like, God, sometimes it's just easy. I don't forget about it, but I'm just like in my own head about as if I've got problems and stuff, my own personal shit, maybe even a little bit selfish. But then I think about her and I'm just like, I've kind of already I've got it made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're getting along so well, and it's really, really special. And it's funny that you say that because it's exactly where I was about a week ago. I was just thinking, I love hanging out with her and I love chatting to her. And she's at that age where when I'm home from work, that she is out a lot. You know, I was going to say partying, but she's kind of really not like that. I don't think so. She's
well, it's not as popular with the kids these days, which is weird. It's good,
so
but weird.
Yeah. And some of my mates at work who have got really young kids or don't have kids, they're like, mate, she's 16. She's probably pulling a bong now. And I was like, I don't think she's not though.
I've heard a lot of people speaking about it. I've got nephews that are 18 this year, and you know they're just trying alcohol now, and it's like mum and dad know about it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like it's very different for them. I got drunk for the first time when I was 12 off a goon bag, you know.
Wow.
Didn't drink again probably till I was year 9 probably. So what's that, 14 or something? Then it was, you know, a few parties that year, and then year 10, 11, 12, you getting drunk every other weekend. And then as soon as you leave school, I was always had a beer or a bong in my hand. It's different for them. And one, I think they got better role models online. They see young kids making money and, you know, entrepreneurship and all sorts of stuff. We didn't have that. Our role models were kind of non-existent. They were the Deros that you hung around. Maybe they were a year or two older than you.
Yeah.
And another thing, I didn't think about this. I heard somebody actually on a podcast mention this the other day. As far as the drinking goes, I think a lot of them are terrified to get filmed doing stupid shit, and then it's on social media, and they're not, their life in their eyes is ruined on Monday morning. Because imagine if someone was filming you when you were 17 drunk, the stupid shit you do, especially if you're a girl. Yeah. Like on a Monday morning, oh, look at this dickhead. You're passed out somewhere, throwing up on yourself, whatever it is, just being a dick. Like we all did ridiculous things when we were young and drinking. And now it's going to be on social media. And then what if it goes viral? What if 10 million people around the world see it and your face is synonymous with being a douchebag?
Yeah.
Because that happens.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You already hate yourself. And then now the world does too.
Yeah, imagine that in year 12 what I did if that was on camera.
Dude.
That poor guy. Yeah, no, it's a good point. And
That's
and-
got to play into it
Oh
somehow.
yeah, you're right. No, that is a really good point for sure. It's easy to just pull your phone out and record something, but no, it's really good to see. And there just seems to be a lot more of a sort of fitness sort of culture as well. Like
Yep.
it's cool to look good
Yep.
and to be good.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm at the gym and you see these young guys in high school and the way they're like looking in the mirror, you're like, "Are you right, mate?"
Yeah.
Like no fucks given, and
Yeah.
it's almost like you look like a bit.
You would have been told you were
But-
gay if you did that when I was. If
Yeah.
if you went to the gym and got caught checking yourself out, someone else would be like, gay, and you would have accepted that. You would have gone, yeah, nah, fuck, I thought no one was
great.
looking. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny, but and I've still got that little bit like inbuilt in me as well, because you kind of are, you're still the same person where I would never really be like flexing in the mirror.
No.
And I kind of make it more of a thing where if I'm thinking about people looking at me, I'm making it more of a thing not to look in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
You might look in the mirror for a bit of form or whatever, but at the same time, even though I'm not doing that, I kind of go, good on you.
Yeah,
Good on you,
yeah,
mate.
yeah.
Like you and your mate are just like literally just in tank tops, just flexing. I haven't seen you pull and pick up any weights. You're just flexing. One's recording the other, but you're like, you know what? You don't care what people say.
Yeah.
Good on you. And my whole mentality is like changed on that as well. It's funny, like one of my best mates, Shaz, she's like, God, you've come a long way, and I'm making some reels and stuff. And it was only a few years ago when we'd like walk around the park and she'd take photos of like us and the trees, and she'd get on me and I'd be like, no, fucking
Didn't
don't
want to
film
be
it.
yeah.
Didn't want a part of it.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, well, get me standing near the tree. Get me.
But that was the thing, right? Like, especially as Australians, like, and when we were young, it was like if you got caught, like, remember, like, as a teenager, trying was gay. You know, if you got caught trying,
Yeah.
try hard.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
especially if you tried and failed, that was
Oh,
like the
it's
worst
sad,
thing ever.
sad, eh?
You cared about something and you sucked at it. You fucking loser.
that's terrible.
That was a thing,
I
right? And then
know.
we carried that around. So it's like, if I already think I'm sucking at this thing, I'm not going to try. Because what if they see me wanting to be good and then I suck? And then they're just going to, I'm a loser.
Wow.
That was a mentality, dude. And it was like, you know, that was a kind of part of the culture, especially in Australia. And I think that's far, far less now. It's like you're a loser if you don't try now. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
you're always really good at pulling up really good points. I was year 10.
I think about shit a lot.
I told Emmett on the phone, year 10, I think I'm going to do breakdance classes. That dream lasted about 12 seconds because he just lost it. And he was just like, yeah, good guy. I was like, no, guess I'm not.
Yeah.
Just like that. And I was like, I knew I had the body for it. I'm kind of skinny and all that. And then now I look at like social media and you see like guys killing it.
young
and
guys.
that was their dream. They're
Yeah.
into it. It's like, how special is that you've spent that much time practicing? Because that's what makes you happy. And they're
Yep.
killing it. I was like, no, it could have been me.
Yeah.
that dream got squashed
It wasn't.
really quick.
It wasn't encouraged when we were younger, man.
Ah,
So, and
it
I think
was-
there's a whole culture shift, like the drinking. You know, it was just you just went and you got drunk. You know, like it was just a whole thing. And it's different with the kids now. And I think that's for the you know, the positive a lot. Like, we definitely love to shit on the younger generations. Everyone talks about how entitled they are and this and that. And that's just, you know, every older generation shits on the younger generation, talks about how it was different when they were younger. But there's a lot of big positives there, man. Like,
For sure.
You know, I think they're going to have to be more resilient as far as what other people think about them. Hopefully the kids figure out how to manage social media better than adults have, because they've grown up with it. Because
Yeah.
it can be debilitating. Full blown, like, I'm a 43-year-old man. I've got kids. I've run my own businesses. I've whatever, man. I said this to you earlier today. I don't really care what other people think about me anymore. It took a long time to get there. But I can go on social media and have my self-esteem tanked in 30 seconds and feel like shit for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
That can happen to me. What's happening to 15-year-old kids, man? Like, you know, they're going to
Yeah.
have to become more resilient with those kinds of things. Learn how to use it as a tool a little bit more, because it kind of hijacked guys like you and me, dude. We are in and have grown up in a super unique time. I actually just saw a clip about this the other day. They're talking about a micro generation, which is like 1979 to 86 or something like that, which is you and me, who have grown up in one of the most, I mean, that's a very unique subset of history. But even over the last 100 years, we're in a time period in life that's like a pinpoint in the history of humans that is as big as any other pinpoint moment in the history of humans, right? Obviously before our time, they had electricity, and then you had the Industrial Revolution. They were pretty big. But then we had computers, going to space. That was before our time. Then we had the internet. That was our time.
Yeah.
Mobile phones, iPhones, iPads, supercomputers, artificial intelligence. All this crazy shit's happened in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pinpoint in human history, right?
For sure.
100. If we last another 1,000 years, if we last another 10,000 years, they'll be talking about the 30-year period that we lived in as one of the turning points of humanity.
Yeah, wow.
You know what I mean? Like,
For
it's
sure.
pretty crazy, dude.
Technology it had a turning point, just blew up.
If you lived in 1257 BC or AD, sorry, or you lived in 1630 AD, it was pretty similar. You might have had a better catapult or
A better washboard down at the river.
It was pretty similar, dude. There was a few technological advancements over that. But, I mean, if you were born in 1983, you had a big box computer with DOS on it and no internet, to we're podcasting on this, incredibly advanced equipment here. And we have iPhones that can send images around the world instantaneously. You could be podcasting with someone in fucking Vietnam right now. I don't know why you would, because they speak Vietnamese. I think I was thinking of the cable guy when I said that. but it's incredible, dude. This is the time period that we live in, which is super, super exciting, man. And again, that mini time period that I said, 1979 to 86, I think the argument there is like we had VCRs and tape decks, into vinyl had just sort of was still around, but we'd progress from vinyl to VCRs and tape decks, into CDs, into the first. Remember the
Discman.
first time we had Discman. Remember the first time you played an MP3 on an MP3 device? It's like, this is insane. This is playing on the thing. Then streaming music from wherever the hell you want from your pocket, or anywhere around the world now. It's insane.
It's insane.
And who knows where it's going to go in the next 20 years.
Remember those TVs, like the block TVs that have 4 little legs?
Yeah.
Mine was called a Thorn. It's about the size of, from probably like that big or whatever. And you turn the dial with the knob and stuff. Crazy.
We had no remote for our first TV. We had a broomstick so you could change channels without getting up. That was the remote.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Dude, it's a crazy time to be alive, and we've had to navigate that change. So we were born in a time that had no internet, and now we've got to deal with social media and learn that on the fly. So hopefully the kids can navigate it a bit better, but then they've got artificial intelligence coming out they've got to develop alongside that as well, and try to figure that out in real time.
It's interesting. You can spend a lot of time, and I know kids being on their screen time too much. It's not great, but it's funny because we're not used to it. Kind of what you were saying, like the generation gap right now more than ever before. It's like, we didn't grow up. I got my first phone, I think, when I was like 19 or something like that.
Yep.
And because our kids have literally grown up with that, had the tablet, whatever, games, and it was just spun me out how quickly Harper can like do something. And I'm like,
they figure it
wow.
out.
Yeah, but they don't know any different. And it's just like, we could give them a hard time. Get off that thing. They're probably like, fucking, what's your problem?
Yeah,
like,
it's normal.
This is normal.
Yeah. I'm already spending 6 hours a day on it. Look at my screen time.
Yeah. And you're kind of like, oh yeah, maybe I'll just back off, I guess, because we didn't have them.
Well, they need to understand it, and they got to kind of be. You don't want to be like, make them some weird kid that's completely devoid of any social media and they're left out. They don't want to do that to your kids. It's not going to work long term anyway. But you definitely don't want them just sitting there frying their brain on screens all day. There's that middle ground. But someone said yesterday, it might have been a clip I saw, might have been on social media, which is ironic, but like, where are all the kids with broken arms and shit? Remember when you were a kid? There was always someone with a broken arm or a broken leg or something going on. They're outside in the world, like, doing shit and having real consequences. Now they're all just, now everyone's, the only injuries are mental injuries.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I guess you get some good stacks on like e-scooters, but that's what I was going to say.
Well, that's true.
I grew up just running amok, climbing trees, always on my bike.
Yep.
And I think Harper learned how to ride a bike at 14. You know what I mean? But they're either on their screens, which isn't great, or it's e-scooters and e-bikes. So like that sort of things, kind of, they haven't grown up being as active, being out. You know what I mean? And so that's a little bit of a shame. Could just come down to the kid. Not every kid rode a bike.
It's true, and there's heaps of kids that are still outside, but not as many, dude. Like, I was just So I've been watching Stranger Things with my boy, which is set in the 80s, and it brings all that
Love
nostalgia back. And we just started rewatching. They've watched it before, but started rewatching The Goonies over this weekend, which is actually made deep in the 80s. And it's like, that's what our world was like, dude. Your bike was everything because that's how you got places, and you would meet kids. You would go outside, and there were kids outside doing shit.
Yeah,
there were always kids in your neighborhood outside doing shit. Like you can drive the streets nowadays and not see. You might see kids at a park, but they're not just outside like they used to be. Like they used to be everywhere, and that was our world. Was get on the bike. Mum says be home by dinner, and you were freaking gone, man. Like. My kids, I sold their bikes before we left Cairns because they hadn't ridden for a year or hadn't ridden for like a year. I was like, I'm not carting these things around the country again. I've got scooters, but I want them to be out on their friggin' bikes. But it was just all I'm doing is holding these pieces of metal that are deteriorating in the garage that I feel guilty about every time I walk past.
Oh, mate, yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, e-scooters, not the same, is it?
Nah, it's not. It's not. And we were talking about e-scooters last night at my sister's house, and her kids have got them and stuff. And I was just like, I would never get one for Harper. No offense, Harps, I love you, but she's a bit of a klutz. You know what I mean? I was like, there'll be a face plant in like 10 minutes.
They go fast, dude.
Yeah, they can go really quick.
It's pretty. It's a bit scary.
Yeah, scary. All right, what else we got?
Yeah, what else?
What else is there? Stranger Things. Love Stranger Things.
Oh, dude, it's good. It's one of the. I've only watched season 1 and maybe half of season 2 before. So Shady come and asked if he can start watching. He's always liked horror themed things, like the kids horror stuff.
Yeah.
He's turning 12 this year, and he came and asked if he could watch it with me, and I'm like, I think so.
Yeah.
I know that season 1 wasn't too bad, so I watched that with him, but I don't really know what we're up for. Moving forward, if it's too much for him or not.
No, it's cool. It's all good. Yeah, me and Harper, that's always been our show.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a good sort of bonding show because I'm entertained as well.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that can we go to the movies? And you watch a kids movie, you're like, oh, fuck my life. I
do like a lot of most of the kids' movies.
Yeah,
but
I like some I find really quite painful.
Yeah,
but with Stranger Things, we can just turn the remote any season, any episode, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And we can have it on the background, and we'll sit down, and we've just over all the years have just jumped in at any point. Yeah, love it. Great show. Love the soundtrack. Love the 80s stuff.
The nostalgia, they do it really well.
Yeah.
Dude, something else we spoke about earlier at the park was I went through a period of time feeling bad about, because I love movies and TV shows and like media like that. I love all that shit, but not wanting my kids to just do too much of that, wanting them to get outside and trying to push them to go climb trees and ride bikes and all that sort of stuff. And I think I was hard on myself for a while, thinking, like maybe some of the rhetoric with some of the guys that we were hanging around was all this like, wasting time watching TV and movies and shit like that. And I kind of beat myself up about that a little bit. But to be honest with you, we spoke about comfort before, and humans are always trying to seek comfort. But as long as you're pushing yourself and doing the things that are progressing you forward, there's nothing wrong with enjoying the comfort as well, because I friggin' love sitting on the couch with my kids and watching a movie with them.
Yeah.
Like, I could do that all weekend. I won't, because I've got to go achieve some things.
Yeah.
But this afternoon I'm going to go watch some Stranger Things with my boy. I love it, man.
Me and Harper got date night tonight. Because I'm due to go back to work soon.
Yep.
She's been out all weekend, so we'll make a night. Well, what's our night tonight? Out for dinner on the couch. Love it. Priceless. Even if I get that once a week with her.
Yeah.
One night now.
It's bonding, man. We're looking at the same shit. We're laughing. We're enjoying it together. It's like, and I love a good show, man. I just started last night. You got to pick and choose which friggin' streaming services you use. So normally I'll wait till there's a couple of things I want to watch on a streaming service, then I'll like drop one of my other subscriptions and start the new one. Because I've been into a point once where I had like 7 subscriptions, and I was like, how much money is just coming out of my bank every week? I'm not even watching half of these.
Yeah.
So now I'll wait till I know I want to watch a few seasons on something. I just signed up to HBO Max again last night. They got a story of 7 Kingdoms. It's a Game of Thrones offshoot.
Okay.
Have you seen the ads?
Nah.
It's pretty cool. Just started watching that one last night. I love it, man. I love timepiece shows like that, like set in in medieval times.
Yeah,
and that.
okay.
And it's got a bit of humour mixed in with it, as well as that. It's Game of Thrones esque, so it's pretty cool, man. Started watching that last night. That's not for the kids. That's a good one to watch with me and my missus.
Yeah, nice.
I love it, man. I love a good show.
Yeah.
What are you watching at the moment?
What am I watching at the moment? I'd say right now, this period of my life, I've always been a massive movie buff
Yep.
and music buff, and I've just kind of taken my foot off it for, some of the projects that we were involved with and things like that. And now I'm just kind of getting back into it. Like you said, it's like now I'm realizing it's important for me to balance.
Yeah.
And I'm not really like drinking that much anymore. So it's like, okay, I thought I was doing the right thing by just disconnecting and then being like that. And then I realized, I need to kind of like work on something, but then also
Balance,
baby.
Dude, I didn't drink for 7 months out of the 12 last year. I had 3 months at the start of the year, I had 4 months at the end of the year. And it was good because I was, ticking boxes, getting some things done. And I probably needed to do it at those times, but I didn't really enjoy it, to be honest. I like having a beer, man.
Yeah.
I like kicking back and having a beer, but it's just always hard to not let it become too common.
Yeah.
There's always a reason to have a beer with someone.
Yeah.
So, but for me, not drinking is not the answer. I was too serious, man.
Just jumping in there.
I like red wine. I don't drink it too much because I get a headache and I wake up in the middle of the night with a dry mouth and it shits me.
Okay. Because I love red wine, and I guess, and I just don't drink beer anymore. And I can drink beer. It's not like I don't like the taste, but I've just gotten so used to red wine. Well, so used to it as in like I
it's only a couple of bottles a night.
yeah. But like where I'm going with that, it's like I won't drink red wine before like 5 p.m. and I'll only have a couple of glasses during the night.
Yeah.
But unlike that with beer, it's
a bit more of a
if
day
you go to a
drink
pub,
thing.
you can crack them during the day. And what I didn't like is like then I'd start to get real tired.
Yes,
then I could be cranky in the afternoon.
Yep.
But it's like staying off beer makes me not drink alcohol during the day because I'll only enjoy a red at night.
Yeah,
Well done. Good story.
I didn't drink a whole lot of beer for a long period of time. I was mostly just drinking. If I was going to drink it, it'd be wine, but normally white. I do enjoy red, but I'll do red. Say if we're going to go out for dinner and catch up, bottle of red wine, sweet. That's a good time for me to drink it. Maybe I haven't been in a winter climate for the last 7 years of my life,
true.
so maybe when it's cold and wintry, I might
Yeah.
prefer a red a little bit more. But yeah, I know what you're saying about the beer, dude. And same, if I'm going to have a beer at lunchtime or in an afternoon, I know that I'm not doing anything else that arvo. It's like it's going to be a chill arvo because I'm going to get tired. I just get tired, man. Have 2 beers and get home and I'm like, I could fall asleep right now.
Yeah, for sure.
It's weird. Getting old.
I want to talk exercise.
Okay.
And motivation and what it does to you.
Good time to talk to me about that. Cause,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny when you think you'd have everything sort of sorted, but it's not sorted. Just you think you know yourself so well by this age, but I'm really like still learning stuff about myself. I've never really cranked the exercise. Again, the brotherhood, big part of that, that accountability and the reward. And then in doing that, I now know the benefits of when there's shit in my head. And then I crank it with exercise. It's like I'm literally trying to like get my breath back, and it puts you don't have time to think about the negative shit because now I'm like recovering from that workout, and then with that comes a nice calming feeling, a swim in the ocean, and you're like, wow, it means so much to me now. And if I don't do something physical within a few days, or I like to go to the gym or do something every single day, and I can do that when I'm away at work as well. But when I don't do that, and maybe with my ADHD brain, which is another thing that I'm new to learning about, I don't function as well.
Yeah, 100%, man. And look, as far as just the endorphins that it releases in your brain, they say that hard exercise, is like one and a half times more effective than antidepressants for people with depression. Like it's far more effective than taking drugs, right? So there's a real life effect there. And yeah, I'm the same, dude. Like I like to get it done early in the morning and have that achieved, and my brain functions better. I feel better about myself. But I'm also going through a weird transition where I've been maybe at times in my life where I was going through some problems. I used exercise as a vice, which is out of the vices to choose, probably one of the better ones, or probably maybe the best one.
Yep.
If you're going to have a vice, but it was still a vice, right? Like I was obsessing about my workouts. Had to go 6 days a week. I was training to an hour and a half, really pushing myself.
It's a long time.
Yeah, man. And my diet really locked in. Like I wouldn't eat anything that was outside of my diet, which I don't mind because I enjoy eating just meat and fruit. Like I actually really enjoy that, but it's not fun for my family if I'm the one that cooks and shops mostly. And I'm eating like that. It's a bit much.
Yeah.
Go out to dinner parties and I'll take my own steak. Like I've done that literally, right? Because I don't want to eat the lasagna or whatever's getting served. Okay. So it's not super fun for other people. But so I've been there where it's been a vice, and yeah, got super in really good condition, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But it wasn't balanced.
Okay.
Again, so I'm going through a bit of a shift now where I certainly care less about what I look like to other people rather than like, you know, it's a weird thing to say, right? But this is just what happened in my head. I was a skinny fat kid, like as a teenager. Like I was skinny, but I had a pot belly and little man boobies. It's just a horrible physique to have, right? Skinny fat. So then I started exercising late teens into my 20s, and like I didn't have a six pack until I was like 30 years old. I got a six pack. I was like, holy fuck, look at that. I'm not letting that thing go. And that's been a motivating factor, to be honest with you. I've always been a vain guy. I don't look at myself in the mirror in public like those kids we were talking about, but I do care about how I appear, like physically. That's just built into me, right?
Yep.
So I was like, it's always been a motivating factor to me. If I ever got too far off my health like goals, I could see it straight away. I go, my six pack's disappeared. I'm gonna get back on my shit, right?
Yeah.
And that was a good motivating factor for me. I care a lot less about that these days, and I'm trying to be far more balanced rather than obsessive about my workouts. But that means that sometimes I'm not as disciplined with them. So I am still trying to find a new balance, because it's not about looking good, which is like a nice side effect, but it's more about feeling good, right? And I know that if I don't work out, I'm not going to have as good a day. I'm not going to be. I get out the door in the morning and I feel like I'm stuck in second gear all day.
Yeah.
I got to get a sweat up and blow the cobwebs out. But I also know that sometimes you just need a rest. Sometimes you're just drained physically, and you actually need a rest today. And even though you might not feel great for the whole day, you're going to be better the day after because you rested. So trying to find that balance there. But it's a little harder because I don't have the same hard and fast rules. I do still train 5 or 6 days a week, but they're not as intense as I used to. But I get something out of certain exercises, like you were just saying, that being completely absorbed in something. I'm doing jiu-jitsu these days, which is one of those activities where I'm just thinking about jiu-jitsu while I'm there, trying not to get strangled by this big hairy dude.
Yeah.
Which is, super cathartic, because that's all I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I enjoy kicking the bag, hitting the bag. I actually need to get one hung up at my place, because that's another activity where even if I don't feel like working out, you can just go out, put the timer on, start tapping the thing. And what happens is your blood starts moving, and by round 3, 4, 5, you're actually feeling pretty good. And then you can blow the cobwebs out. That's something that's always been really, really nice for me as well. So I do need to refocus to get a bit more intensity out of my workouts. They're really just a part of my routine lately that 3 out of 5 workouts have been pretty average. But I'm like, hey, at least I did it.
Yeah,
at least, because for me, it's always been about keeping the routine. I think keeping your routines are really important. So it's more important to do a workout than it is to have a good workout.
Yeah, for sure.
In the long run, right? Because it's this thing that people do where things get busy, you get tired, you got all these shit happening in your life, and you let the positive things slip because you don't feel motivated to do them. I think a lot of people do that. And then when the motivation comes back and you're ready to get back into your exercise, or maybe it's some hobby you do or whatever it is, you got to start from scratch again. And that's super demotivating. And then you got this big hill to climb. So I've always been pretty good at that, like going, I don't feel like doing this right now, because I've been through periods like this before. I really don't feel like doing this right now, but I'm not going to let the routine go. I've had this routine for 15 years or something now, like exercising every morning, Maybe the morning time's probably been since I had a kid. So probably the last 11, 12 years I've done morning exercise 5 or 6 days a week.
Yeah, wow.
So I'm certainly not going to let that slip.
Yeah.
So even though I'm sometimes going through the motions at the moment, I know they're probably going to happen pretty soon, actually, because I'm excited about the new endeavor that's starting to become, real boots on ground kind of thing. I'll come out of that and I'll be like, ready to hit my workouts again. And I'm like, cool, my routine's still in place. Now I'll just amp it up a bit.
Yeah.
So the routine's really important. Just doing the fucking exercise is important, man. It's good for your brain, good for your body. And I think just having something that you can, like hitting the bag, like doing jiu-jitsu, like going for a run, like maybe you get this in your Pilates class or something, something that you're not thinking about the bills, not thinking about work, you're not thinking about whatever that stupid thing you said to that person that, 3 days ago. You're not thinking about that shit. You're just thinking about this thing I'm doing right now, which is a nice, some people do meditation. You can get meditation through exercise because you're clearing your mind and just thinking about this thing right now.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
That's how I feel on it.
Yeah, wicked. Good answer, mate.
But I like having someone like you around that I can bounce off and go, Ads is getting out and getting it. I need to keep my shit up together. You know, I don't want to meet you down the park next time and can only fucking do 3 chin-ups.
Yeah.
You know, so it's good to have a little bit of not competition, but motivation from someone else that's getting after it as well. You know,
it's kind of nice when I get a message from accountability. When I get a message from some of my old mates and they're just like, I done an extra gym session and that was because of you.
It's
like,
nice, yeah.
Cool, man. That's wicked.
Yeah.
And I love that. You know what I mean? And then, or I've started doing that, and I've had that maybe from 4 different mates over the last few years, and I'm like older than them, and I'm like, I should feel proud of that.
It's good, man. And I think the podcast you're doing and the kind of convos you have, I reckon you probably, if you don't already have it, you would have people reach out every now and then, just saying that they heard something on your podcast that really helped them.
Yeah.
That was the best feeling for me as well,
Me
dude.
too.
Like every now and then I'd have a certain conversation with someone and you're just not thinking about it anymore. You just had that convo and then someone will reach out who you haven't spoke to for months or even years and like, hey man, I listened to your podcast the other day and something that you said or your guest said or something you were talking about like was just what I needed to hear that day. And I was like, fuck, that's exactly why I started my podcast, you know?
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And for me, just to bring that full circle back, which is why I had to have time off, because when I started my podcast, I was like, I'm a creative guy. I used to play music, used to play drums, and I did some hip hop when I had babies, and I could put up on Triple J Unearthed site and all that kind of stuff. I loved all that. And then had babies and got busy and stopped creating things, and I just felt I need an outlet. And then started listening to podcasts, and I was like, I need to do this. This is back in 2014. Never even knew what they were. I was like, I need to do this. It took me 4 years to pull my finger out and actually get one started. But I was frothing at the mouth to spread positivity and have conversations and meet interesting people and create something. And at the end, I was like, fuck, what am I going to talk about this week? I better sit down and think about it and, listen to some, current events and come up with an opinion on it. And it just felt forced.
Okay.
Even though I'd feel good afterwards, I was like, yeah, I need to have some time away from it so that
ideas start flowing naturally and things like that.
Yeah, and I figure out what I want to say, what my podcast is going to be about. It's probably going to be about nothing again, but it'll still be about something, if you know what I mean. It won't have a specific agenda, but I'll have something I want to communicate. So that's where I'm at with it now, and that's what I'm kind of hoping. Moving cities and shit like that, or moving states and all that kind of stuff is pretty disruptive as well. I knew I had that on the card. So hopefully, by mid-year this year, I'm ready to kick off and start a new iteration of the podcast. Not sure what that's going to be, what it's going to be called, if it will be me and Eli or not sure, but that's sort of, it's in the background. I'm certainly not done with the podcasting because I love it, man. And I love that you're doing yours. I love that you're doing your stand-up. It could be easy to, from the outside, say, look at being involved in the brotherhood and the business side of it and go, okay, that was, some people might see it as it wasn't the best decision, right? But for me, I know it was, because it was what I needed at the time, and it sparked all these other ideas, and it's led me to the path that I'm on now, which is the path I'm supposed to be on. And I love to see that in you as well. Even though neither of us have continued down that pathway doing that thing, it led us to this one, which is where we're supposed to be. And I wasn't headed to this path before. I was fucking looking off in the distance somewhere thinking, I don't know where I'm going. Yeah. So now I know where I'm going. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. And that was because of that stepping stone or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly the same as me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's great to see you where you are now, man. Ups and downs. Some days hit, some days miss. Sometimes we get in our own head. It's never going to be perfect. It's going to be messy. We're people. You've got ADHD. You've got a messy brain. That's part of the... It's. I don't know if you know who Chris Williamson is. He's another podcaster.
Just seen
English guy.
Just seen him at Astor Theatre.
Really?
2 weeks ago.
He's a great guy, man. I love his podcast. And one of the things he often says is the issues, the problems, problems in life aren't actual bugs. They're features. They're built in. It's part of life. You just got to work through them, deal with them, not wait for them to stop, to go away. Why does this keep happening to me? Because it's life, dude. We just work around them and keep going. Yeah. So I love seeing you in that place, and can't wait to actually see you get up and do some of your stand up as well.
Yeah, wicked, mate. Awesome. Thanks for that. Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, bro.
And thanks for joining me.
Love it.
Really good hanging out.
Thanks for having me on here, dude.
Love you, mate.
Love you.
Nice connecting.
Yeah, bro. Good to spend some time with you. Get back on the mic again. It's been good. I can still talk apparently. So
you're nailing it. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Peace.
Cheers, dudes. Take it easy.